Hello everybody, welcome to this video where I'm going to talk about what the 2017 AQA English language exams teach us about the 2018 onwards AQA English language exams. So what do I mean? Well, this is a series where I'm looking at the examiners' reports, our experience as teachers, as examiners, student feedback, looking at past papers that we've called back, that sort of thing, and being able to say, okay, here were the common mistakes, the common issues students faced, and let's make sure you do not make those same mistakes moving forward. So paper 2 question 1 is on the surface a very simple question. You're faced with 8 statements and you have to find 4 statements that are true. Now this seems to be, like in paper 1 question 1, the exam board's easy opener. It shouldn't be a challenge at all. But if you've watched my videos in this playlist on how to answer paper 2 question 1, you'll know that I think this question is that little bit more complex than paper 1 question 1. Now, I'm not going to use this video to explain how to answer the question. You need to watch my other videos for that. But 12% of students did not get full marks in this question. And that is a concern, because what that means is if you drop 1 or 2 or even 3 easy marks or relatively easy marks here in this opening question, you've got to find those marks later on in the paper in the significantly more complex questions. So why did 12% of students not get full marks? Well, one of the things I think that is very important to point out is that this question is not as easy as paper 1 question 1. In paper 1 question 1 you've got to write out 4 things about a certain topic, but you can find 4 obvious explicit points. Now assessment objective 1 is about explicit and implicit information, and I think the difficulty with paper 2 question 1, or the potential difficulty, is that in this case all of the statements will not be explicitly stated in the text. You have to read between the lines, you have to be able to look at implicit information. Now, I'm not going to show you the 2017 paper on the screen because many of you will be taking that for a mock, but what I will do is show you the source that was in, or is in, I should say, my revision guide, which is now in paperback, by the way, on Amazon. So this was the Teacher in Your Pocket article where Liam Murphy interviewed me about MrBruff.com. And one of the statements that you had to identify whether it was true or false, or one of the statements that you were looking at was that Liam Murphy makes a joke about his exam results to cover up his embarrassment. Now, the actual sentence that indicated this information was this one: I won't tell you my exam results, but if I'd gone to an all-boys school, I might have been a brain surgeon. Now, this is the interesting thing between the difference between explicit and implicit information. If that statement was explicitly true, Liam Murphy might have written something like, I am making a joke to cover up my embarrassment about my exam results. And you'd say, okay, that's true, and then you'd shade the box. But this is not explicitly true, it's implicitly true. We have to read this sentence, I won't tell you my exam results, but if I'd gone to an all-boys school, I might have been a brain surgeon. And we have to work out, number 1, that this is a joke, and number 2, that he's telling the joke to cover up his embarrassment about his exam results. So my pointer, my biggest point about paper 2 question 1 is the significance of the fact that you might not be able to find the 4 statements obviously explicitly stated that are true. You might have to read a sentence and actually try and read between the lines and work out, is this actually proving the statement that I've got on the exam paper. The other thing to point out is that 66,000 students did not follow the instructions in this question. Now, this question is marked by a computer, and that means that there's not going to be that human brain thinking, what did they mean here? It just kind of scans it and marks it. AQA tweeted lots of times over the summer, though, to students and teachers who were stressed that, they wouldn't you wouldn't lose marks if you had filled in the paper incorrectly. But let's be honest, you've got to get it right. Now, the statements or the instructions for the question are stated very clearly. You have to shade the circles in the boxes of the statements that you think that are true. So next to each statement, you see something like this, a box with a circle or an oval shape in it. And if you believe that statement is true, then you shade in the box like this. You shade, so I've said it wrong myself. You shade in the circle like this, okay? Now, that should be pretty simple. You don't write T or F or tick or write true or false or shade in the whole box or whatever. You just shade in the circle in the boxes of the statements that you think are true. Now, of course, you have to choose a maximum of 4 statements, and this can prove problematic because what if you shade 4 and then you think, oh no, actually I'm wrong. So if you make an error, you cross out the whole box, and then what if you've made an error but then you change your mind and want to go back to a statement that you've crossed out, where you draw a circle around the whole box. Now that might sound a little bit confusing, but the key bit of advice here to not make the mistake that 66,000 people made is read through all of the statements, make your decisions on which 4 are true, and then shade in the 4 circles as you see here on the screen. And that is the best way to do this, okay? Because that's a lot of people making simple mistakes. Now, having said that, I still think that this is a difficult question, much more difficult than paper 1, question 1. So don't panic. 1 or 2 of the statements I think will always be obviously explicitly true, but then you might need to sort of read between the lines and look for the implicit information for the final statements. As I said earlier in the video, Mr. Bruff's Guide to GCSE English Language is now available in paperback for £6.99 on Amazon. Kindle edition, £3.99 on Amazon. Ebook edition, £3.99 at mrbruff.com. 202 Amazon reviews, 5-star rated. You can go and read the reviews from all of the students who've bought this guide and got amazing grades. You can check out mrbruff.com/proof to read hundreds of messages from students who've thanking me for their amazing grades as well. I'm really delighted for the support here on YouTube, and I recommend you pick up a copy of the revision guide. It will really help you.